Seeing as how people kinda liked the last crossover game, Beanox tried it again. This time, they trimmed the fat of the other two Peter Parkers and just decided to stick with the original one plus Cyberpunk Spidey. Spider-Man Edge of Time came out only 1 year after the previous installment, so as you can expect, not a lot has changed. It's one of those games that's a sequel, but feels like an enormous DLC because it uses the same assets, gameplay, and some character models. This game is to Shattered Dimensions as Fallout New Vegas is to Fallout 3. That's not to say it's a bad game, but it was definitely pieced together with scraps of whatever they were doing the year before. What separates it from the previous one is that it has a much more focused story and the characters are spot on to the comics. The plot involves time travel, but it does it in a lot of fun ways. This game is co-written by Peter David, a favorite author of mine who does sci-fi novels and created Spider-Man 2099. I'm happy that this game's writing has a much better understanding of the character of Miguel O'Hara, who I say is still one of the best comic things to come out of the 90s. Both Spider-Men are played by my favorite voice actors from both the shows I watched as a kid. Now, the thing about this game is that it plays and looks almost exactly like the last one. Normally I would just say a few things about it and skip right on to the next one, but this one is the last great story we've had in this entire series, and I want to highlight it for that reason, because it really stands out among the rest. So kids, get your thinking caps on. We're going to learn about time travel and quantum physics according to comic book logic. I hope no one has a gun that'll send my soul back in time. That's a legitimate concern. We begin our story with the half-Irish, half-Mexican Spider-Man of the future narrating about how much he hates his job and his new boss. So he swings over to break into the place to continue pushing his anti-corporate agenda. Hey man! The corporations are ruining America with their business and stocks and shit. I'ma go use my genetically augmented superpowers to wreck the place and threaten my co-workers. So he crawls around in some vents in a cool opening sequence and finds out that his boss, Walker Sloan, is traveling back in time to start their evil company Alchemex way earlier and take over the world. This changes the present Marvel universe and turns 2099 into an evil, sprawling cyberpunk metropolis. Damn corporations! Miguel is the only person who remembers the other timeline when he gets stuck between, time zones, and learns that Peter Parker is going to get murdered. Thus he begins his quest to restore the timeline and save his namesake. Get me pictures of Spider-Man! Yeah, I missed that guy.
Peter Parker.
Who's that? Who's talking?
Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man from 2099.
Are the other me's in my head too?
No, it's just me and you, old-timer.
So, I really like this game. But, the first gripe I have is that the opening has so little time to develop some stuff. And we get like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue to quickly recap what the hell is going on. And then, we get back to doing crazy shit like stopping time and fighting clones. Miguel uses a sample of Peter's DNA to create
I threw together a chronal link program using a sample of your DNA.
Yeah, what he said. Yet I'm thinking, whoa, slow down there, space cowboy. Could you explain that better? How does having a blood sample allow you to create a radio signal to someone else's brain that works through time and space? It certainly isn't something he just threw together in a few minutes.
It's allowing me to
I have some
communicate
questions.
with you at the point in time
What
it's
is
taken.
How does that
Just
work?
wish it was from
Where did
earlier on. We
when
have
did this
almost no time.
what?
A lunatic
Hey,
named
wait.
Walker Sloan
Hold on.
from 2099
Hey,
created
just-
a time.
Miguel.
It was
Wait,
a one-way trip
how
that
does
dumped him sometime
I don't
in the
understand this.
1970s.
Wait, come on. Mind telling the audience how and when you did that, Miguel?
Sloan's building another gateway on the 66th floor, so he can finally travel back and forth.
Oh, he's too busy dropping supervillains off highways. He's not listening. Well, I do love the way they transition from one character to the other, and showing each of them in the corner gives you a feeling that both are dealing with their own problems, even when you aren't controlling them. They got rid of those damn spider tokens and replaced them with these little orbs, and I can't help but pick up every single one I see, even though I don't even buy the character upgrades. It's like they designed this to toy with my OCD. So you want to write a story about killing Peter Parker, huh? Huh. Well, balder men than you have tried and failed, my friend. We all know this isn't permanent, especially in a story about time travel, so let's think logically about how we could do this. Well, he needs to die defending his moral code that he never shuts up about. So we gotta have him stopping a threat from endangering lives.
O'Hara, if you don't get that I can't turn my back on danger, no matter what the cost, then you've got no business calling yourself Spider-Man.
Oh, snap.
Check. We need him to get killed by his best villain. And who is Spider-Man's nemesis? That's right, Lady Stiltman. Just kidding, it's Venom. But oh no! Venom is no longer Venom in the comics. He hasn't been for 3 fucking years. Eddie Brock lost the suit and Scorpion took it so he could be a total jobber and get his ass kicked all the time. But Eddie Brock has a better connection with Spider-Man. Well, he makes Spider-Man's powers go away by touching him, and he's current in the comic world as of 2011. Alright, Anti-Venom it is, even though he's not as cool and everything about him makes no sense. Okay, so the villain of the first half of the game, Walker Sloan, mind controls Venom to be his bodyguard and help him, do something? Why is Venom here? To bomb the place? What? There are multiple boss fights with Anti-Venom, and each one gets more difficult than the last. As it starts, you beat him pretty easily, but he keeps pulling out more tricks as it continues. First he starts self-healing, then he takes away your ability to dodge. By the end of it, you feel so helpless, and all you can do is crawl away while he gets closer and closer, which is pretty unnerving. Eventually, Miguel swoops in to save the day. Peter tags out with his Daft Punk buddy, and we begin round 2. This piece of the boss fight is great because it really shows the differences in the two main characters. 2099 can't have his powers drained and is twice as strong, so he starts knocking Venom around like a Hank Pym love interest. Venom comes back to his senses after a thorough beating. Thus he knocks the evil businessman and Doc Ock, who is just there for some reason, into the portal to die in agony for all eternity in the time between attoseconds. Smash cut back to the future and Peter is all healed and stuck in 2099, while Miguel is in the past, being the only character who knows what the hell is going on. The portal is broken and they spend the next few hours of gameplay just trying to keep the situation settled. While things are slow, I'll talk about the gameplay for a second. This game is indeed just an extension of Shattered Dimensions, but there is one new feature. Both Spider-Men have a unique dodge ability. Miguel can move so quickly that a decoy of himself is still present that the enemies will shoot at while he sneaks up behind them. Peter can move like Neo and never get hit in this mode. These are both neat little powers that make no sense in realistic terms, but serve as cool gameplay mechanics. The free-falling that 2099 can do is still here, but much more refined. They are some of the coolest sequences in the game, and I find myself constantly wondering when the next one will be because they're so fun. It's great trying to make it through one of them using the speed boost the whole time, so you're going as fast as possible and trying not to hit anything. Another unique thing is the time travel stuff factoring into the gameplay, where a thing going on in the past is inconveniencing a Spider-Man in the future, so you have to change the past to save the future. Basically, you have to delete some architect's files so in 83 years they won't have a room with walls that close in and shoot flames. I feel like some random employee at Alchemex is having the worst day ever trying to find his files for the company Death Chamber. Maybe his manager Karen starts yelling at him for his incompetence. Sometimes time just gets all wibbly wobbly and walls just appear or disappear out of nowhere. It's nuts! What other weird stuff are we going to see? Well, we get to the most annoying boss fight in the game. Black Cat is here, or a bunch of clones of her at least. Fighting her is a pain in the ass. This boss fight is broken. It's the worst one in the entire series of Spider-Man games, all the way back to 2001. She can just block 90% of your punches and you have to constantly worry about dodging the other 15 clones that are beating on you too. And in typical fashion, you have to chase her somewhere while you fight, and her dialogue is nothing but sexual innuendos.
Oh, now where'd she go?
You're getting warmer, Spider. Come find me. You know I'm gonna make you work for it.
Be honest, was I
Yeah,
good?
you were great. Better than the original.
Man, the future is wacky! I hate it here. So back to the story. Well, Peter is stuck in the future and finds out that the CEO of Alchemex in this crazy timeline is him. Oh my god! well, this is an interesting villain. So, evil Peter from the future wants to use the power of time being broken to make himself a god. That way, he can fix all of his numerous screw-ups in life and create a perfect world.
When the storm is fully unleashed, I'm going to harness the quantum energy. It will give me complete control over the time stream.
What, are you trying to play God?
I can make up for my original sin by saving Uncle Ben. Not to mention Gwen Stacy, her dad, countless others. What kind of villain fixes it so that everyone gets to live happily ever after?
That's actually not a bad goal. I mean, abusing power is wrong and all, so we should probably intervene, but I want to go on record as saying I'm not 100% on board for it. Actually, maybe evil future Peter is not the most stable guy. Even as the company's CEO, he's not the best person to be in charge. I don't think Mr. Parker has the authorization to create a harem of sex clones. I'm going to have to bring this up at the next board meeting. Yes, he's misusing company resources for a comically large botanical garden and a group of genetically engineered copies of his dead ex-girlfriend. Is that just fine with everyone? Oh, okay, alright. Who needs an office this big? Is he playing racquetball on here when no one's looking? So all three of the people who fell into the portal get mushed together into a monster that can control time and wants nothing more than to murder Spider-Man. Which happens all the time. And even though this is clearly those three guys, it takes a goddamn blood test to figure it out for these two dunces, who are both apparently scientists somehow. But this creature is called Atrocity and is probably my favorite boss fight of any Spider-Man game ever. Which I know is surprising. It isn't even a thing from the comics. I like that it's almost a guaranteed death if this thing gets close to you because of how freakishly powerful it is. It isn't really even much of a boss fight, it's just a chase that never lets up. You can hear it screaming behind the walls everywhere, and you never know when it's just going to show up and eat you. When Spider-Idiot has to get the blood sample, he lures it into a room where you have to keep goading it into this chamber with knockout gas, and each time it wakes up it uses more weird time powers. This is really cool and original.
Well, just another day in the life. Whoa! What the? Is that
Wait a minute. They did this exact premise for a monster 11 years ago. I still like it better here, and the semi-reference is pretty cool. This means we have two main villains, a weird monster that's ripping apart time with its very existence, and evil Spider-Man who wants to use that power to reshape the universe. The climax of this game is a kick-ass battle in two eras of time where each Spider-Man uses the help of the other to beat their own final boss. If I had to list my favorite thing about this game, it's the pacing. The entire game has this feeling of being in a hurry, and getting repeatedly stopped up before getting to whatever it is you need to do. It's like you just always feel like you're running out of time, which is perfect considering the subject matter. Everything has a timer built into it, and you always feel out of breath. The pacing is fantastic. And it's great hearing the back and forth between these two characters. At the beginning of the adventure, they really don't like each other, but they become friends after saving each other so many times and basically reshaping the whole universe. The gameplay is more of the same if you enjoyed Shattered Dimensions, and this one has some continuity ties to that one too. I could talk for hours about how this Easter egg ruins the entire plot, but it's fine. Spider-Man 2099 is one of my favorite characters, and I'm so happy to see that he got not one, but 2 games to show how awesome that premise is. These games are what caused the minor resurgence in his popularity and have revived his long since cancelled comic series. So this video game had a bit of a butterfly effect on the comic world. People should really go out and read that stuff, by the way. It's great. So, we're finally done talking about the second multiversal crossover. These games come in twos, I guess. Next up, we have a movie tie-in game attached to a movie series that no longer exists, starring a voice cast trying super hard to make up for the fact that the movie cast isn't here. Oh joy!
Good try, Spider-Man, but I've had 100 years to plan this. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. I kept you close to keep an eye on you. Make use of it.
Fuck, will you just shut the fuck up?